Hey everybody, how's it going? It is RambleCast time. October 26th, as it were. I'm starting a little late because I do that sometimes. And how are you guys doing? I see Diablo and Austin in the chat. Good to see you guys. So, little heads up, I'm coming in today kind of short on topics, but at the same time, I have a feeling not short on topics. We'll see. But really quick, I want to take one very brief moment to call out the very worst thing published today. The best Black Friday deals you can already get. No. Guy, no. What? No, it's October 26th. Black Friday, what is Black Friday this year? It's the 25th, I think. Let's see, 25th, yeah. So, we have a 30-day countdown to actual Black Friday. I guess technically we are within the it is now a month away stage. So maybe I feel like you can't do Black Friday until it's at least November. You cannot call anything a Black Friday deal until November unless it's like a company straight up saying, "Oh no, we'll tell you what they are, but we're not putting them on sale until Black Friday." You can do that. You can't put something on sale. Hold on, while I'm gonna open a store, and in January I'm gonna start advertising my Black Friday deals. I'm just saying, I could do that. Who's gonna stop me? I want to abuse the Black Friday name so much that at some point somebody will look at it and just straight up say, you know what, it just has no meaning anymore. Oh wait, we already do. Can never be too early to spend money. Oh, that's gonna be a topic later. Actually, you know what? No, it's a topic now. Spotify, what you thinking, bro? So, okay, Spotify. In case anyone didn't see this, Spotify is considering a price raise. They're thinking about it. This is it's so funny because this announcement is very literally it's on par with like a high school, a popular high school. I don't want to gender it. We'll just say someone popular in high school saying that they're thinking about getting a haircut. Like, that's the level of casualness that Spotify's throwing at this. But yeah, so they're apparently talking about raising their prices. They haven't given any specificity about what that price raise would look like. However, they have already raised prices outside the US. It was kind of a given that they were going to hit the US too. I don't think there's really anything special about that, but the mere fact that they're just kind of doing yeah, we might do it, we might not, we don't know. That is already sort of one of those, they're dipping their toe in the water. They just want to see how much people are going to be furious at the idea that they're going to charge more. Let's see, Austin, Black Friday is like 2 months now and Amazon killed all traditional shopping holiday. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, the fact that we now have Prime Day twice a year, which, let's be honest, next year or the year after, they will move to 3 times a year, and then eventually they will just become like Prime Day is every second week of the month. Count on it. It's coming. Let's see. Prices go up, but our jobs don't. No kidding. Ain't that the truth? Actually, in many cases, jobs are going down. Which, by the way, that is also another topic that's coming. Diablo, you're hitting all my topics before I can get to them. Anyway, the thing that I actually find most amusing about this, and I mentioned this in chat, Spotify's reasoning for this is very literally, I don't know, we saw someone else do it, let's do it too. Like, they don't have a reason. They didn't come out of this saying, oh yeah, our costs are going up, or record labels are renegotiating, or all these podcasts that we're trying to pay for, like Joe Rogan's legal fees are piling up. Like, they didn't come out with a reason. It was very literally just, they did it, we can too, right? God. Oh, and seeing as both Apple and Google, when they did it, in both cases, like, they were citing, obviously, like, going into a recession. But not only that, their reasons were actually just completely frivolous and obnoxious. Everyone agreed that they didn't actually make sense. But here they are raising their prices. The bit of credit that I will actually give to YouTube on this, because YouTube, I think there is, in a subtle, hidden way, there is at least one justification for it. In theory, and we don't actually know this for sure, but it's technically how they committed to doing this. In theory, their price increase on YouTube Premium, at least for families, and when they eventually get around to individual, because let's be honest, they will. With the price increase for families, what they ultimately are going to do is pay more to creators. Logically, because they've committed to taking a percentage of the money that they bring in and always feeding that same percentage out back to creators. Now, I'm sure to some extent this doesn't actually happen the way they promise it does, but I expect it's close enough. So at least the YouTubers out there who were complaining that their income wasn't really enough off of viewers, that in theory goes up. So at least YouTube is actually going to sort of pass some of that on. Yeah, we hope it's better for creators. Who knows? There's too much variability in that. We don't know. But logically speaking, this is a thing. It could happen. It could improve for YouTubers. I'd like to see that. But with Spotify, they don't have a deal like that. Spotify just brings in new money, and that's kind of it. Oh, that's weird timing. I just got a software update for a random little utility that I only just installed on this computer 2 days ago. But that utility has not had an update in like years. Any update on this computer? No. That's weird. Okay. Anyway. We just need more people to do premium. Yeah. Well, seeing as YouTube is trying to find more ways to sort of incite people to check out premium, I think that's gonna kind of happen, whether we agree with how it happens or not. I mean, they did the experiment with pulling 4K away from regular people, which honestly I still don't think that's that big of a deal. You know how many times I actually watch stuff in 4K? Like, never. And as I've explained on the channel before, most of the 4K content that's on YouTube is not actual true 4K. It's when somebody makes a video, they just configure in the settings to render out a 4K version of the video, and it doesn't actually, like, it's just upscaled on their side. And the reason they do this is YouTube's algorithm for doing conversions. It treats 4K video better than it treats 1080p video. So, yeah, honestly, like, people already aren't getting 4K in most of their videos. So it's not like it matters. Yeah, and exactly. A lot of ISPs are throttling to some extent. So, honestly, I don't think most people are watching in 4K. I'm not saying that there aren't people. I think that was one of the smaller things YouTube could pull away, and it wouldn't really have that big of a negative impact. But yeah, honestly, there's so many ads in non-premium YouTube. You were getting hit with ads left and right. And apparently they are planning to test thicker advertising somewhere in, I guess, next year. Maybe it was into this year. But yeah, the price going up on premium kind of matches the fact that they're just shoveling more ads into the regular YouTube experience. So one way or the other, they're making the money. You might as well just, if you watch enough YouTube, it's worth it. Just pay the premium cost and deal with it. It kind of sucks. I mean, ideally none of us would want to spend that, but you know, it's the way you kind of have to do it. At least if you want to maintain your sanity. I honestly do not understand how people can live without YouTube Premium if they watch more than, a handful of videos a month. Let's see, as I realize I should be moving around videos to get them, not videos. I should be moving around windows so I have everything where I actually normally put it. Really quickly, and needlessly speaking of YouTube, one of the things that I do every time I set up the computer for streaming, one of the things I do is I open the YouTube account that is associated with the Cody's Mindspace YouTube channel, and I haven't watched a whole lot of videos on there, but because of various things that I already watch on my regular account, and there is another person whose account is in use here, I get a lot of recommendations kind of based on videos that come to this house. And the funny thing is, though, the recommendations are generally more topic oriented as opposed to what do I want to call them? Well, specific to the actual viewer. So anyway, the point I'm getting towards is I watch a fair amount of photography stuff on my main account, and YouTube on my Cody's Mindspace account just recommended a video that had such a weird title I had to at least take a look at it. So let's see, there's nothing offensive here, but it's just such a ridiculous title. Let's see, I want to get to let's see, I'm kind of skipping around to find a clip from this that gets the right point across. Okay. A photographer in Australia or New Zealand, I forget which, name of Peter Coulson, did a video titled Poo Paper Bikini. This was recommended. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. It was and very notably, this video was posted, the date's not showing up here, I have to change the window size, but the video was posted in April of 2020. You know, when everyone was actually having trouble getting toilet paper. So I can only imagine this video must have killed it on clicks. It's actually close to 2 million views. Or, well, it's at almost 1.9 million views. I can only imagine why. That being said, legitimately, credit to the photographer. It's actually pretty good photos. Anyway, so back to Spotify. Oh wait, let's see. Read comments. Catch up real quick. Diablo, the YouTube app on Android looks so terrible with ads in between scrolls. I never actually noticed those. It's I fortunately have not had to deal with ads on YouTube because I've been paying for ages, literally since the day that it was available. But I didn't even I'd kind of forgotten that they shoved ads in between videos. Like, I knew about pre-roll and mid-roll ads. I'd forgotten that they even had just generic ads that didn't necessarily associate with videos. You peered at your cousin's phone and cringed dying. I can only imagine. Hoopy, I realized when visiting my mother recently that YouTube ads are bad, but still not as bad as cable. Which is how a lot of people probably are fine with it. Yeah, so I know I've told this story before, but I used to go over to a friend's house kind of before going out at nights. And we would sometimes sit and watch like music videos or comedy stuff or whatever. Just like kind of whatever we were in the mood for. And on YouTube, oh my god, every single thing that she played, it would just, like, the amount of time that was wasted watching YouTube ads was ridiculous. The fact that we would see one between every music video, before every comedy short, I would sit there and just in shock that she lived like this. And I know that sounds weird and judgy, but I tried forever to talk her into it, and she's like, "Oh no, I don't mind them at all. I don't care. They're just ads." And I'm just sitting there like, "Oh my god, we could have watched literally 50% more stuff if you didn't have ads." She didn't believe me. She didn't seem to care about it. And then, like, I begged her for a good long time about this. And then one night, I was over at a friend, this other friend's house for a pool party, and she came to meet me. And when she walked in the door, she goes, "Oh my god, I owe you so many thanks. I finally tried YouTube Premium," which actually I think at the time was YouTube Red. Oh man, she walks over, gives me a hug to thank me for this, and she's like, "Yeah, you were right. This changed everything. I don't know why I said no." Because the ads are just terrible. Watching without ads, it was so good. And yeah, she's been a diehard ad-free YouTube watcher ever since. So yeah, I mean, that kind of revelation for somebody who watches enough YouTube, it's worth it. Not to be a YouTube shill, YouTube, if you'd like to sponsor this channel, how about monetizing me? Anyway, let's see. Okay, reading down. I can't wait to see what kind of horrible ads Netflix gets from Microsoft. Oh god. I dread. Actual dread. Because Microsoft is historically not very good as an advertising company. It's funny because I actually interviewed with an advertising group inside of Microsoft once. Which kind of explains why they're not a very good advertising company. And very notably, I was interviewing to be a developer, not in any way actually involved in ad sales. I would have been working on a product that helped manage the ads that were added to our inventory if I had gone to work there. But the group was, we'll just say I wasn't interested in working with them. They were very, very not great people to have on a team. Anyway, Diablo. Wonder how many people accidentally said RedTube. I don't think there was ever an accidental person or anyone ever accidentally saying it. Everyone made that joke. Just that was the joke. I think everyone did it on purpose. But yeah, anyway, so anyway, getting back kind of to the original point, I think Spotify doesn't seem to have an actual incentive other than the fact that they want to make more money. They're just seeing everyone else doing it, and at this stage I assume they figure this is a perfect time to raise our prices because we're not going to get any heat over it. Why would we get heat over it? Because everyone else is already getting heat over this. So, you know, I grant them this. It is actually the perfect time to raise their prices. If everyone else has already done it, you may as well do it too. I think that's a terrible strategy. I think they could honestly gain a ton more subscribers from Apple and YouTube if they just keep their prices exactly where they're at. But yeah, again, the counterpoint is at this stage, like, everyone else has already taken the heat. If they do it, it's just going to happen. Some people are going to raise their middle finger and then move on. If you're the third one in line to do the same thing everyone else has already done, it's not like anyone's going to move away from you. Not really. I mean, a few people might, but you'll have made up for that small percentage, easily made up for that small percentage by the higher price. I mean, really, they could add 50 cents to their price and their profits would just skyrocket, whereas they would lose almost nobody. Except of course some small percentage of people who leave just out of, like, I don't know, willful dissent or whatever. I'm not really sure what word to attach to it, but you get the idea. Yeah, it doesn't picture them as nice. It really doesn't. I mean, to be fair, that falls into the whole thing, like, companies are not your friends, but at the same time, this just feels like just typical business strategy, like 101 level. Just raise prices regardless of what it will ultimately do. But at the same time, I get it. It makes sense. Strategically, this is a good idea. Or probably a good idea. And to be fair, if they raise their prices less than everybody else has raised their prices, that actually could be beneficial to them. If they're just kind of coming in casually saying, yeah, we can do it. It doesn't matter. It won't hurt us. If they were to just raise prices, say 50 cents, that would probably be better for them than anything else. Honestly, though, actually, I never really looked into this, but does Spotify do like a yearly thing? Premium view plans. I don't see anything about yearly. Okay, so yeah, if they're not doing yearly, if I were Spotify, I would actually take this opportunity to put up a yearly subscription, or maybe every 6 months. I don't know, something like that. I would put up a big subscription and attach a deal to it. Give people a reason to just not give people basically an incentive. Like, come out with a yearly plan, keep it effectively the same price as current plans, but then raise your current plans that are month to month. If you catch my meaning. So the individual plan is currently $10, bump it to $11, but come out with a yearly plan that is just $120. So you save your $12 by paying the yearly price. I could see that actually being a really good incentive, and it is beneficial in the sense that you're getting that money up front. That's certainly advantageous for them right now. Wonder why they haven't already. Honestly, I don't know why a lot of these companies haven't come up with yearly subscriptions. YouTube, honestly, like, why? I think YouTube is such an obvious choice for this. They should have done it a long time ago. But yeah, for whatever reason, everyone wants to stick to monthly plans. I suppose because they don't want to have those discounts, but it's not really a discount. They're getting more advantage by getting that money early, especially because there is a degree of breakage that happens where customers are buying the thing and they may not necessarily stick around to use all of it for whatever reason. That kind of breakage is an advantage for you. But hey, whatever. I don't know. I don't make these pricing decisions for a living. So, oh wait, did I not open that tab? I did not. Okay, so I did say I was going to bring up switching topics here. I said I was going to bring up our jobs not going up, and what I was going to use as a reference point. Let's switch back to the Verge's site because I know I saw the headline on here. If we search for, hey, there we go. I'm on the right. Yep, I'm on the right window. Great, excellent. So at this point, I think everyone's heard about how Elon Musk is presumably planning on cutting up to 75% of Twitter's staff, which of the 7,500 people, that would basically be let's see, 0.25. That would bring them down to about just under 1,900. And realistically, I doubt he would end up cutting an actual flat 75%. So they probably end up with about 1,900 to 2,000. And this isn't new news. This number has been kind of handed around a few times. But what strikes me about this is there's a lot of debate over whether or not this is a good thing, a bad thing, whether this could backfire. I honestly think it will. That's almost a given. But the purported claim is that they would get rid of almost everyone having to do with moderation. They would also cut a lot of developers, but it would be almost entirely moderators. It would be also a lot of the various support staff people. It would, I think I also heard there was some talk that it would almost completely kill the ad sales group, which I kind of understand that one. I don't think ad sales from Twitter was ever really that effective. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm curious where that goes, and moreover, I think that's the doomsday moment for Twitter. I know everyone's probably heard enough Twitter, and I'm not going to talk about this for more than a moment, but just because this is actually, we're about to hear of this, we're about to see this. Twitter is going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of, we'll call it about 5,500 to 6,000 employees out on the streets. They're going to be job hunting. They're going to be chasing all kinds of things. And truthfully, I'd be surprised if Like, even if Elon Musk wasn't planning on firing all these people, there would probably be that many people job hunting anyway, because they don't want to work for him. He's notoriously not a good employer. There are so many people who work for Tesla that are not happy with him as an employer. So I can kind of see this being an inevitability anyway. But we'll see. So I think this is also going to lead to a whole lot of sort of outing of secrets. People that used to work for Twitter are going to show up and sort of reveal things that a lot of people didn't know. And that's probably going to turn really interesting really quickly. I think it's also going to become very interesting when we start hearing more and more stories about how things changed at Twitter once they knew Elon could become the new owner. And of course, what happened once he became the new owner. Because, I mean, they're not firing all these people overnight. They're going to be firing them over the next, like, probably 2 to 3 months. Twitter has no chance to be the next WeChat. No kidding. Yeah. That is the... sorry. I know some people out there think that that's a thing, but oh my god, anyone who believes that, anyone who truly believes that Twitter is going to become a WeChat competitor, delusional. There are crypto bros who have more reason to believe in their stuff than this. Twitter will not become the next WeChat. You know what? I don't make a lot of predictions, not like hardcore, like big tech predictions. This is one I'm comfortable going on record with. Elon is not going to turn this around and turn it into the next WeChat. If anything, I'm predicting or expecting. I don't want to go to prediction. I'm going to expect. I think odds on favor. Somewhere within the next 5 years, Elon is going to be selling Twitter for bargain basement prices. It's going to be sort of like Yahoo. Elon will use a woke AI email scrubber to find people to fire. That actually sounds about right. But yeah, there's no way that he's not going to make this into a WeChat. He's not going to make this into some overnight success story. And he's not going to slow growth it either. If anything, first off, getting rid of the moderators is going to send huge numbers of people just screaming away. There are going to be so many people who just decide that that the place is going to become a toxic hell stew, which it really will. I mean, how many people check out Twitter on a regular basis? It's already bad. It's really bad now. Imagine what it's like if people feel like they don't even have a risk of getting banned anymore. Twitter will get worse. It has a lot of room to fall. It's gonna get so much worse. So yeah, that's just part of it. I think also they're going in there. Sorry, I keep checking my phone because I'm getting notifications because I just set up a security camera recently, and so I haven't done a lot to narrow the alerts, but now I'm getting alerts every time somebody walks in front of it, which isn't super frequent. The camera's not pointed really at, like, it's pointed at the road, but it's not close enough that it's gonna trigger for that stuff. Diablo, actually, you bring up a good point. But I'll get there. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, I keep checking my phone because I'm seeing the notifications, but I don't necessarily always know what they're going to be. So anyway, I think the future of Twitter is basically going to be a lot like Yahoo. We're going to see when they basically destroy the ad revenue, that's going to take it from just general valuation downward. Then as the user numbers drop, because I think initially, obviously, they're going to get a big boost in user numbers as they welcome back tons of banned accounts. So a lot of people come scrambling back in. They're going to act terrible, as they are wont to do. And within, I'd say, 6 months, any number of users that they gain back, it's going to triple or quadruple the number of people who are just going to peace out. And the user numbers will just keep dropping. It's not like they're going to get better. So as user numbers drop, I think they will reintroduce moderation. Just a guess, but I think it's a safe bet. They'll reintroduce moderation. They'll throw out the whole like free speech thing. They'll still have the narrative, but they won't actually abide by it. But the damage will already be done. No one's going to come back once they leave. And at that stage, it's going to become kind of the end run for Twitter. And their user numbers will just continue to drop. At which point, Elon will try to make news. He might even try to attach stuff to sort of force people back into using it. You know, kind of the same way that like Mark Zuckerberg has kind of tried to use, or kind of at one point was trying to use Facebook as, the Quest, the Oculus Quest. They were forcing people to use Facebook accounts to sign in. Let's be honest, half of that was just about getting people to start using Facebook again. So I wouldn't be surprised if Elon does something crappy like integrate Twitter into all of the Teslas or something like that. Oh god, just even saying it gives me cringe factor. But I think he'll try to do a few things to sort of drive a renewed interest in Twitter. I don't see it really playing out very well. And once the value drops sufficiently and he's seen that there's just no way to recover it, then I think he'll try selling it. It'll sell for I almost want to write down these predictions, but I'm thinking it's probably going to sell for somewhere around, I want to say somewhere between 7.5 to 11 billion when he gives up. Unless it just tumbles. I mean, there's some possibility that it just absolutely just valuation crashes next, and like whatever happens to cause it could be like over the course of a week the valuation just goes from like, I don't know, 20 billion down to like 3. If that happens, who knows? Like any number's possible. But I think if it goes slowly enough, he'll give up somewhere around the point where it hits the 10 billion mark. Elon gonna take credit for things he doesn't make? He already does. Literally Tesla, literally SpaceX, literally everything he has ever done, he did take credit for it. The guy is an engineer. He actually knows some stuff. He's not stupid. He's just a jackass who thinks he's smarter than he is. Who would buy it? The Saudi royal family? No, Verizon. I mean, they bought Yahoo. Clearly, they've got money to burn. But no, honestly, I can't think of who would actually really want Twitter. But I don't doubt that there's someone out there. Maybe something, if anything, maybe it's going to be something like Elon develops some, or maybe under his tenure, let's say it that way, Twitter develops something that actually is worth some money. Maybe some company will look at that and say, you know what? Yeah, this is something we want. we'll invest to buy this, and we're taking Twitter with it, kind of a thing, if that makes sense. You know, it's sort of like when telecom companies would own, like, they had their own cable networks, they had obviously infrastructure, they had services, support, all that stuff, and then some other company comes along and is like, we will buy your whole company, but the only thing we actually care about is your landlines. You spend a fortune installing those, we want those. All the rest of it we'll burn it down or sell it off. Austin, have you seen the Q3 Verizon numbers? I have not. We'll just assume that Verizon can also turn around their numbers by the time Twitter needs to sell. Let's go with that as a explanation. By the way, really quick, to Diablo's earlier comment, Google, please just remake the RSS feed. That's basically how you use Twitter. For a very long time, that's how I was using Twitter too. I just had like a very tiny follow list that I pointed to like 3 sites that I cared about news from, and I would watch their feed coming out of those sites. It's actually sort of part of how I ended up writing at AP. But yeah, I gave up once a lot of sites stopped posting all of their stuff reliably, and moreover, a lot of sites started reposting a lot of stuff, which got kind of annoying. So yeah, Google News has potential but still feels weird. I feel like Google News has managed to actually take me away from news. I see a few of the things that make it into my notifications. Every once in a while, I'll even scroll through Google's Discover feed, but I don't look at it like I would have in the past. It just isn't useful enough, and it puts way too much garbage. Actually, so I don't even know what caused this. Let's see what I'm gonna get. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't know why. Wait, really? Now it's not doing it. Okay, so about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Google Feed or Discover, whatever it's called, it started, I think it assumed that I was a serious thirst trapper or something, because literally every other article was about some celebrity wearing a see-through dress, or it was, yeah, there's none of that now. Literally none of them. But yeah, it was all this stuff about female celebrities wearing either skimpy or see-through clothes, or anything like that. Yeah, I just scrolled the entire thing, and there's not one of those. But yeah, once I saw that, maybe they caught on. Maybe Google's better at learning than I thought, because I kind of just stopped looking at Discover altogether once that happened. Maybe their algorithm realized, hey, this isn't the way to get his attention. At least not for actually reading articles. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, the way I feel like news has been very much ruined. At this stage, I really only just watch like one news show on YouTube, and I kind of pay attention to a few other random things here and there. But it's as stuff falls in front of my eyes, not really for any intentional following or watching reasons. Oh, let's see. So Anyway, all right, so enough about Twitter, but we can sidestep to Tesla, because not sure you guys heard about this. There's a criminal investigation into Tesla, which gave me a bigger smile than it should have when I saw that this is a thing. And I don't think that there's actually enough here for me to get into too many opinions, but I just figured people would be interested to see this. So due to a number of crashes, a couple of, or 2 or 3, 4 something, were actually fatal, all of which had to do with AI features in the car, basically sort of like self-driving like modes. They're not technically self-driving, but they're, you know, sort of the self-driving adjacent, the assisted driving or whatever it's called. Due to that, or due to crashes that occurred during the autopilot mode, they're being investigated, and this is the kind of investigation that could actually lead to some pretty severe penalties. So yeah, Tesla stock is not going to be doing too well going into next week, or actually I guess even this week. Right now, like, Tesla stock is going to plummet in value, which is really going to put Elon in a bad spot for buying Twitter. And you know how much that worries me. You know how sad I am to hear that. Be weirdly funny if all of a sudden he has to sort of throw his hands up and say, so yeah, I'm actually way too broke to do this. Sorry guys, I'm out. Yeah, which at that stage, you know what? I know some people disagree with this, but I want it to go back to the original terms where it was a simple pay $1 billion, walk away. I still think we can see that happen. Technically, the deal is supposed to close on Friday. That's 2 days. 2 days. We can make it. We can make it. If Tesla's stock falls enough, he won't be able to do this. And that could be the end of this stupid buyout crap. That was never the actual deal. Well, they had, part of their termination clause was $1 billion walk-away thing. Basically, if he failed to complete the purchase, he could, it was a termination of $1 billion. It's $1 billion basically only if Twitter walks or the government blocks it. Are you sure? Because I remember it wouldn't make sense to put in the $1 billion clause if Twitter walks, because he made an offer, and part of the terms of that offer were very much like, if he doesn't want to do it, or okay, think of it this way. What would be the harm for Twitter in that scenario? So he offers money to buy the company, and Twitter could say, sure, we'll consider it. And then 6 days later, they walk away and say, all right, now give us our $1 billion. That wouldn't make sense. So I don't understand that part of it. The government block, I know I've seen that. That has been a thing in like the AT&T T-Mobile deal. That was part of their concessions, because if somebody else offers more, but that, again, that is just it's all incentives for Twitter to make the deal not happen. I don't know. I'd have to go look into that, but I feel like that was because Elon making that offer basically put a price on Twitter and gave the potential for stock manipulation, which is logically what the $1 billion would have been. Is it's a penalty for him effectively screwing with the stock value. Yeah, of course the terms were all in Twitter's favor. But for Elon to walk in and possibly screw with the valuation of Twitter, that would naturally be a reason to have a penalty clause. So, I don't know. I'd need to look into that, but I'm pretty sure that was for Elon to walk away. Anyway. So regardless, I'm still holding to the point that if this thing goes south, as it probably won't do, but it'd be nice. It would possibly. No, it's not that simple. I mean, it never is that simple, but I don't. There would have to in an offer like that, there is typically a walk away clause that has some penalty attached to the person making the offer. And if it wasn't the $1 billion, what was it? I mean, this is very frequently how it works. I've literally been in a situation, not directly part of it, but I've been in a company as this sort of thing was happening, and there is whoever's making the offer pretty much always has to put some sort of a stake on it, because otherwise there's a risk that they're affecting valuation, like I said, and that the way that they are affecting valuation can warrant penalties. Anyway, so we'll see. At this stage, though, I'm Elon is a real bad business person. Well, I mean, strictly speaking, he is the richest. Is he still the richest? I'm not sure on that anymore. But he was at least at one point the richest person on the planet. So, you know, I mean, he's bad at business, but not that bad. He's not Donald Trump bad. Let's at least agree on that. Chancery Daily. I'll trust that this isn't. Okay, really. Where's the? Okay, before I even read anything beyond this first section, I just want to say this thread is only for people who still think Elon can pay $1 billion and walk away from the transaction. I already read this and immediately think, well, wait, we're talking about the early terms. Things changed, especially once it went to court. So obviously, yeah, we're not talking about him still being able to do that. We're talking about what it was in the beginning. But anyway, spoiler alert, he really cannot for even more reasons than thought previously. It's a rumor with zero foundation in reality. Okay, so you're saying it's got more to do with this one. And I'm assuming this is a thread. Yeah. All right. So, by the way, just I know I'm not challenging the topic here, but I don't love it when people get condescending and start doing the let's screw with the capitalization just to mock people again, because that's That's petty. It's typical Twitter behavior. Okay. It's gonna take. Oh my god. Okay, Again, this person might have actual information, but it's 2 tweets in a row. They're just being dickish towards other people, not winning a lot of confidence here. So I apologize to bated breath. Y'all, okay, seriously, how is this person ever 3 tweets in? They got to get to something here. Okay, so Article 8 covers termination amendment and waiver. Section 8.1 outlines when termination is available. 8.3 discusses the termination fee. Okay, so 8.3, termination fee available to Musk under only one scenario. The others are for Twitter. Termination under 8.1. The argument for termination fee availability is even worse than thought. But that's literally what 8.3A3 says. I've read it 10 times. It only points to termination under 8.1, not this. This is not written in. This isn't written in a useful language. Okay, I want to slap this person. Seriously, reading these tweets is useless because it's literally a lot of repetition. Donald Trump repeats himself less than this person. It cannot be possible that the argument for the termination fee is worse and weaker than thought it was. I already thought it was a dog. Okay, Jesus Christ. Twitter is for short stuff, not for blogging. Okay, so in a world where Twitter seeks specific performance, Musk cannot invoke the termination fee. But on my close read, we don't even need that backstop. Really quick, who is this person? Alter ego of our email publication, TCD. Okay, so not a lawyer. Just wanted to check that. Came here to tell you the termination fee was out of the question because the non-breacher has their choice of specific performance or the termination fee. And obviously Twitter's not going to choose the termination fee, but it appears we don't even get there. Who even started the $1 billion walk fee rumor? Oh wait, okay, I just like, is there an end to this? It's all very nuanced because the argument is, this is a person who's complaining about other stuff. There's literally no information here. They're just citing things but not actually pointing to anything of value. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything here. This is a person who's just saying that there's no termination fee because it points, one part of the contract points to a different part of the contract. Is there more down this way? There's a distinction between the 1 billion termination fee, not going to happen under any circumstance, and 1 billion cap on damages issue, which is slightly more nuanced. Well, yeah, the damages is a different thing, and everyone... well, I would assume everyone knew that, because Elon has done approximately 10 billion in damages now to Twitter. It's not, I know it's not actually 10 billion. I think it's something like 7.5 or whatever, but their stock value is dropped so much since this whole thing started. And to be fair, it was probably going to anyway. Like, there was actually good reason to expect their stock value to fall, but okay, I'll trust you that this probably is a valid account, but what you link to, it's useless. It's not actually explaining anything. It's just saying that the contract is written in legalese, and it's pointing from one section to another, which is extremely normal in contracts. But it doesn't say what the $1 billion actually is. It just says, no, it's not what everyone thinks it is because everyone must be wrong. That's not an argument. That's Trumpism. So whoever and I get it. This person's frustrated by what people think versus what this person thinks, but either explain it or don't. But yeah, like, this isn't helping. But okay. Anyway, so moving on. One way or the other, I can guarantee Elon can walk away from this deal. All he really has to do is say, well, sorry, I can't afford it. At which point they will either, if there actually is a termination fee, then he would end up paying it. If not, then it would go to court where they're going to assess damages, and they'll spend the next 5 years trying to collect. Actually, well, they'll spend probably 3 years litigating, another 2 years trying to collect, and then probably another 2 or 3 years after that, very literally selling his debt to collection agencies. You have to go back to day one of the filing to get all the info, but it's all on this account. With the way that this person tweets, I don't have a year to read through really, really poorly written tweets, which is really all this person. That's what the whole thread under the Stewie thing is. It was a whole lot of yelling at people for not knowing what this person thinks they know about it. Let's see. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not gonna dig in further. I don't care enough. My main point is, I still think the best thing for Twitter is to be rid. Well, okay, I say best thing for Twitter. Bear in mind, I'm about to split distinctions here, or make distinctions here. The best thing for Twitter as a social network, the best thing for Twitter is for Elon Musk to go the hell away. Actually, in truth, the best thing for Twitter is the Elon Musk account gets banned and they just move on. The best thing for Elon Musk is also to not buy Twitter. But the best thing for Twitter's current owners, yeah, it is to sell Twitter. For them, the 100%, their best move actually is just to get the hell rid of it, because Twitter stood a chance a few years ago. I think it was actually on a good uptick. Now, I think the company is in a bad place, and they're probably weren't going to get better. Speaking of things that were in a speaking of things that are in a bad place and not going to get better, you can just leave that hanging there for a minute. Totally free to leave that hanging there. Awesome. The best thing for Twitter is seppuku. Agreed. No, not really. Obviously, I think there is a way to save Twitter, but it's not what this guy wants to do with it. In a weird way, I think the best thing for Twitter is to try to turn it into sort of a public property kind of thing, but go out with a blast. Oh yeah, they could oh damn it, I want to do a spoiler for Silicon Valley, but I don't know how many people have seen all the way through, so I'm not going to. But for those who know how that show ended, that would be the best thing for Twitter. Just saying. No spoilers, but that would be the best thing for Twitter. Anyway. So, oh my god, I didn't see all of this. So, at least 8 organizations and 2 star athletes have distanced themselves from from Kanye West after his remarks. Jeez. That's I knew about Adidas. And the Gap. I knew about both of those. I didn't know it had reached 8 companies. Let's see. TJ Maxx, Aaron Donald, Jaylen Brown, Foot Locker, Gap, Adidas, CAA. Oh yeah, I knew about CAA also. Vogue, MRC, and Balenciaga. Jeez. Activate the bird drones. Or drone birds. Whatever. But yeah. I'm not going to turn this into a topic. I'm just amused. Oh no, and why is Skechers trending? Please don't tell me that this is related to Ye. Of course it is. Skechers says it escorted Kanye West out of its LA office after he arrived unannounced. The shoemaker says it has no intention of working with him. You know what? I was honestly thinking about this yesterday. I was actually debating if I wanted to turn this into a topic, just because I was going to say, I bet at this stage he's gonna go to every other shoemaker because he doesn't want to get into the business of actually making shoes. He just wants his name and designs on them. Wow. I was gonna say this, but it's happening faster than I thought it would. People think he's gonna make his own. They're wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. He could. He has the money, ish. He could make that happen. I don't think it's going to fly, though. Because in order to do that, you have to set up distribution contracts. You have to have manufacturing contracts. You have to have a place to do all of this stuff. He doesn't have any of that infrastructure. And the shoe industry is an infrastructure heavy thing. You don't start that up without having a lot of contracts in place. So, yeah, he would almost guaranteed have to go to one of the other manufacturers to get his name out there again. I don't think he's going to get it out of any of the big ones. So he's pretty much stuck with only the little guys. Austin, is Walmart above racist shoe brands? No, but I think even Walmart at this point might not want to step into this ring, because Kanye West is going to become a money losing machine. Count on this. He is going to he overstepped. He thinks he's in the right, and he's probably not going to back down on this. He's going to be oh my god, I always think of this comedian's name and now I'm totally drawing a blank. But the New York comedian who he got in trouble with the law over like jaywalking tickets or something, and in the process of fighting those, he kept picking more and more fights with the cops, and it led to him just going, he just kept getting in more and more trouble as a result of this. And I feel like that's where Ye is headed. He's just going to keep screwing up. And I don't know if any of you saw this. This, I think, is the most interesting thing about this. Kanye West was his personal value prior to all of this stuff happening was it was like $1.25 billion or something, 1.3 billion, whatever, something like that. After this deal exploded with Adidas, his valuation dropped to 400 million. That's how much that contract was worth. More than half of his personal value was tied up in a single contract. This is it for him. He is going to become so much less significant because he's now just rich. He doesn't have FU money. He now just has, like, he can retire extremely comfortably if he shuts up and gets out of the way. And he's going to have to pull some miracles if he ever wants to get anywhere close to the 1 billion mark again. And let's be honest, he's not going to do it by making the political stances. So, yeah, we're watching multiple empires fall. Diablo, he should retire and sleep. Not sure if he can. Yeah, I don't think he can. I don't think it's in his nature. Let's see. He's all about the Yako system. That's so cringy. I love it. They even stopped playing his songs on the radio. I hadn't heard that, but I believe it. Ouch. All eggs in one basket just hurts. I mean, it's not so much that as it was just such a high value egg. You know, it's the goose that was laying a stream of golden eggs, and that one is now gone. But yeah, it's not good for him. Plus, just the mere fact that he can't even take his current designs and reuse them because Adidas owns those. Oh yeah, this. He wants to build his own mini city called the Yako system. Okay, I didn't know that was the name of it. It would have all his own branded products and services. Oh my god. In the midst of all the chaos, blah blah blah. Oh, that is so cringy. So, okay, he's teased the idea. Yeah, I can't read this whole thing right now, but oh man. What a schmuck. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot of him going forward. He's got a few years left while people still listen to him in whatever context, and then I think he'll just become one of those people who fades out. I'm hoping. For his sake, I'm hoping. Anyway, so I guess moving back to tech, because probably should. Oh, I didn't want to hit that yet. Yeah, let's talk about this one, because I don't think there's a lot to say here, but a little bit more to add to the infamous iMessage, RCS, whateverness of it all. Oh, Diablo, with a timeline of the consequences Kanye West has faced for his White Lives Matter shirts. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's gonna be so bad. So yeah, anyway, I don't necessarily agree with 9 to 5's choice for the title on this, because it wasn't really, it's not really that Apple is claiming that sending iMessage for Android would have held them back from innovating. The irony is that actually would have been a valid claim, because Apple has added so many things to iMessage that actually have OS integration. It is some of the stuff, including payment, including like some of the visual features. There's a lot of things in iMessage that actually legitimately they would not have been able to have those features on Android, or if they had them, they wouldn't have been as good or effective. I can actually support the argument that it would have held back some of the, well, features. I don't want to go so far as calling them innovations, but it would have held back some features that they had planned for iMessage. That would have actually been a valid argument. But if you read the quotes, let's see. If you read the quotes, that's not really what Federighi is saying. Let's see. To quote this big, long, chunky quote here, if we're going to enter a market and go down the road of building an application, we have to be in it all the way. That's going to make a difference. Or in a way that's going to make a difference. That we would have a lot of customers, that we would be able to deliver great experiences. This comes at a real cost, and my fear was that we weren't in a position to do that. Which is loosely translated to saying, yeah, we could have made it, but we don't think we would have done a good job, so screw it. We just won't try at all. Going on, he says, and so if we just shipped an app that really didn't get critical mass on other platforms, what it would have accomplished is that it would have held us back in innovating in all ways that we wanted to innovate in messages for our customers, and wouldn't really have accomplished much at all in any other way. And so we just felt, pick where you can make a difference. Pick where you're going to invest and do it where you make a difference, and this seemed like a throwaway that wasn't going to serve the world honestly. Yeah, that part is BS. I mean, ironically, they picked an argument that kind of doesn't work, but this is their explanation for why they never shipped iMessage for Android. And of course, it doesn't address the email that actually spawned all of this, which was the whole thing about, what's his name? I saw the name, Eddie Q. Eddie Q, of course, famously said that, it was in response to Eddie Q. That's right. Craig Federighi said to Eddie Q that shipping an Android version of iMessage would simply serve to remove an obstacle to iPhone families giving their kids Android phones. So, yeah, you know, nobody questions. No one questions what Apple is doing here. Everyone understands it and recognizes it. The fact that Apple's in any way, shape, or form trying to minimize that is obviously just exactly that. They're trying to minimize it. Let's see. Apple does have a track record of not having their apps on Android or other operating systems. Yeah. And honestly, I remember when Apple Music came to Android, everyone at AP genuinely said, what the hell's happening? When did Apple ever decide this made sense? Because Apple's only app on the Play Store for years was an app for transitioning from Android to iOS. That was it. And then finally they came out with this one, I think Apple Music was the first. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, like that was their first attempt to spread anything, and that was literally a subscription service. Like it has no lock-in value. No one was really gonna switch to any Apple products so that they could get Apple Music, the like fourth place music service. Music catalog is easier than message server. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, I don't think that there's any argument about what was actually happening here. Everyone knows Apple's all about the lock-in. This wasn't ever really in doubt. I think it's funny though that Apple's trying to spin this they're trying to make a very incriminating email magically go away, and it's not going to happen. So it's cute, but it's dumb. And like I said, 9 to 5's title actually says it better than Craig Federighi did, because at least an argument for innovation made sense. But Craig's was really more just, yeah, we don't think we could do anything, so we're just not even going to try. So moving past that, we have the other dumb lock-in story, but this one's kind of the good one meets bad one. So Apple has confirmed it is not going to fight the EU's decision to push USB-C. I don't see how they could have, so that makes sense. They weren't going to get anywhere with that. But so yeah, the VP of Worldwide Marketing, Senior VP of Worldwide Marketing, Greg Joswiak, I don't know, something like that. Finally, my charger farm won't need one lightning cable. Oh my god, I wish that was the case. I so wish that was the case. Why? Because of this. This right here. Magic Trackpad. This is one of my favorite accessories, but oh my god. It is the only thing that I have in here besides an iPhone SE that uses lightning. And I'm betting anything they're not going to replace this thing with a USB-C cable for a long time, and it is going to be so obnoxious. Anyway, so I read some of the terms. I did not go read the original bill because I don't have that kind of time, but I read some of the terms, and it does spell out some interesting points. So no product has to ship with USB-C until the end of 2024. So all through 2024, products can still ship with micro USB, mini USB if that's the case, lightning, whatever, 30-pin connectors if that's what it comes to. Like everything can still ship through the end of 2024. However, from the enactment of the bill, which has passed already, anything that ships with a non-USB-C port or cable can only be sold for 24 months from that date with that other cable. From that point on, it has to be USB-C, or they have to take that product off the market. So when you think about it, that means that the next, not one, but 2 iPhones can actually still ship with lightning. Because we've obviously finished this year's product cycle. So obviously they've shipped the iPhone. Wait, I'm blanking. It's iPhone 14, right? We just had they just shipped the iPhone 14. Yes. Okay. I needed to double check that. For some reason, my brain was thinking, wait, did we just get the 13 or the 14? Anyway. So they just shipped the 14. That means that they can ship the 15 and 16 both with lightning. And both of them, according to the EU's laws, can include lightning instead of USB-C. But in both of those phones, they would have to take them off the market 24 months after they are released. That is a solid deadline. If they weren't to do that, the products would be banned, effectively. Yeah, it would be so nice if they just switched to the yearly numbering. That it works really well. Samsung did it right. So yeah, anyway, as much as everyone's really excited by the fact that we're going to get USB-C iPhones, I'm waiting for the reality to come crashing down when next year it's still Lightning. And part of me, like, I wouldn't make any bets about it. I think Apple will just wise up and start shipping USB-C anyway. But a part of me is looking at it and wondering, what are the odds? Just what are the odds that Apple's going to be petty and decide to ship the 16 with a Lightning port 2? It feels unlikely, but a part of me just thinks it could happen. So we'll see. There's a lot of uncertainty here. Oh, by the way, any product that was announced or started shipping, one of the two, I forget which, before the law went into place, or actually I think there was a 20-day buffer in there. It was like 20 days after the law was officially put in place. But anything that came out before that time is grandfathered in. So those products can continue to be sold with any port that they had, any port or plug that they had. So they are valid. Anything that came after that point has the 24-month deadline. And then once we're into 2025, everything that is new must ship with USB-C. No questions asked. So we'll see what happens. I'm skeptical. I'm really skeptical. And there is talk that there are people theorizing that Apple might try to weasel around this by like changing the iPhone's physical design so like a USB-C port can't fit. Which, my God, if they do that, it's gonna look so ridiculous. But okay. Diablo, be crazy if they did Lightning on the low end and the rest are C. They could. I don't think they will. I could kind of get that. Like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing, but would there ever be a chance to do both? I joked about that in another chat server. Yeah, what would be the odds that they would just flat out say, sure, we'll put in a Lightning port as an accessory port, and it will also do charging and everything else, but we'll add USB-C like just for charging. Because remember, this does not dictate data. According to the law, you only need USB-C for charging. They could do that. Oh God, the fact that I just said that hurts my soul. So they might actually decide USB-C is only for charging purposes, and you have to use Lightning if you want to do data. I don't think they would do that. That would be so stupid. People would hate them for it. It would look nuts. People would find it just so irritating that there are two ports. But they absolutely could do that. There's nothing stopping them. And the amount of space that they would have to dedicate to having two ports in the phone. Man, I just see no way they do this. But it would be hilarious if that's how petty they want to be. SIM slot replaced now for sure. Yeah. I still think it was... I think killing the SIM slot was such a bad move. It's so obvious they're just pandering to carriers in the US. Oh yeah, and that does bring up the other possibility. They might do an EU-only version of the iPhone that has USB-C, and the rest of the world still gets Lightning. I don't put it past them. I could totally see them doing that. And the way that they're trying to spin this, where supposedly it's the engineer's decision and engineers are dictating what is best for everything, I could see them trying to spin that as an explanation for why they'll ship in the EU a USB-C version, and in the US and the rest of the world they would ship Lightning versions, they might, I could see them getting up on stage and actually trying to make the argument that they're doing this for the good of the world, or at least the good of their products. And everyone will know better, but I could see them trying to pull that crap. We'll see what happens. I think ultimately this is going to pay off, though, because they're only going to want to do that for so long before it falls apart. And if we're being honest, I think now that the EU has done this, we are on a ticking clock before the US does it too. Because the US has followed the EU on a lot of things when it comes to sort of like appropriate tech moves. Obviously, like some right to repair stuff and consumer protection oriented changes really happened as a result of the EU. Not to say the EU has a good right to repair situation going, but there are other things kind of led down that road, and I think they could probably see the same thing happen with this. The irony being, I'm truly surprised we don't have any politicians jumping to do this. Like, think of, I don't know, just name any politician who needs an easy win. You'd think that some of them would look at what the EU did and how much everyone just praised it. So many people were excited by it. They loved it. Like, this is an easy win. You'd think a politician out there would be like, yeah, we just want to introduce this bill and get it done. It's the right thing to do, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, maybe even make it a bipartisan bill. Find one of the less crappy people on the other side of the aisle and talk them into joining you. That way you can say, yeah, you know, bipartisan, we reached out. We made sure everyone was included. We wanted a good win for both sides, blah, 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 whatever. Like, it would be so easy to have done this. I know, right? Especially the ones who go, how come my grandkids need a Lightning and AC? Oh my God. There's a part of me that really wants to know if anyone's asked that question in Congress, but there's another part of me that knows someone has. God, Congress's questions. One of these days, seriously, why don't they hire writers to write their questions? Anyway, you know what? I'll say this right now. I will volunteer if any politician out there wants to ask better questions and to tech people, hire me. I will write questions for you. I will make you sound like you actually know something, anything. But okay, anyway. How's that not a job? But yeah, there's a part of me that is really skeptical that Apple is going to well, I'm skeptical in both directions. I think there's a good chance that they're going to do two different versions of iPhones just because. There's another part of me that thinks that they're going to that they might actually just give in and do the one version across the entire world, keep it simple, not mess with everything that they've already been doing. Kind of dumb with the SIM slot situation. Yeah, you know, just I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I do kind of want to hit this because I think the Apple could release a 16-inch iPad next year story. I think this is actually an interesting one. This has big, maybe macOS vibes, like macOS on the iPad vibe, because we're talking about a quote-unquote 16-inch display, literally the same size as their MacBook Pro, All they have to do is slap on a keyboard, let it behave like a MacBook Pro. Lo and behold, you now have the thing everyone thought the iPad was always going to be. I'm just wondering, like, why not? Maybe it won't run Mac OS, but maybe it could run some of the applications. Maybe there'd be... I guess through Mac Catalyst, you already kind of have that ability to go the other way. Build the iPad version of an app and it runs on Mac, but still. This feels like... With all the news that we've had this year, where they're going to come out with DaVinci, or, well, not Apple, but there's going to be a version of DaVinci Resolve for the iPad. There's going to be a version of... damn it, I am blanking on all the names of the other apps, but there are pro apps coming to the iPad. More pro apps coming to the iPad. And Apple purportedly is going to be shipping some of its pro apps for the iPad. At least Final Cut. I would be genuinely shocked if Logic wasn't also going to be on that list, and possibly more. And as I said in the other RambleCast episode, I really, really think we can expect to see free versions of Final Cut. Well, not expect, but I think there's a good chance we're going to see a free version of Final Cut. The blending is too much. How do you mean? MacBook is getting weird? Well, so I've had this theory for a long time. What I think that they're going to do is keep developing the MacBook. Like, obviously they'll keep developing that, but at a certain point, I think they want to add enough features to the iPad that it starts to feel like a... I think they're going to add enough of the features to the iPad that ultimately one of these days they do want to kill Mac OS. But I think they want to do it so gradually that at one point no one will come away saying, hey, that was a big mistake. You shouldn't have killed that thing. I think they want to get it to the point that every person out there using an iPad just casually can say, yeah, I don't need a Mac anymore because the iPad literally does everything I want. They've been adding APIs that kind of make that make sense. They've been adding functionality and features. They don't have everything, and they never will have everything, but the reality is they're approaching this from the direction that Microsoft should have approached this and didn't. Microsoft tried to do this the other direction. They tried to take a desktop platform, put it onto a tablet with a detachable keyboard, and make it like a tablet, make it behave like a tablet, make it look like a tablet. But it was still on the inside, it was a desktop OS, and it behaved like a desktop OS trying to pretend to be a tablet, and it was bad. And they tried to do it too quickly, way before they were ready, way before their software was ready, before anyone saw any potential for it happening. They were pushing a line that just wasn't going to work. So, in my opinion, the Surface products kind of missed the boat in a bunch of ways. Meanwhile, Apple is here. They've got an operating system that is already touch-friendly, but can be made to be more information dense in the right modes. It actually transitions well, whereas Mac apps don't. And they have a platform that is gaining all the features of Mac OS very, very slowly, but also kind of quickly if you think about it. They could realistically, if they push this thing hard enough, they could realistically have it operating, I would say, 80% of the real necessary functions of Mac OS within the next probably 3 to 4 years. That might be a little optimistic, but I don't think it's by much. And keep in mind, this is running the same chip as a MacBook. So, like, we're talking the same power level. We're talking most of the same internal components. All it's really missing is the fans, which, if you've used a recent MacBook, you know the fans don't even activate that much these days. So, it's comparable to a MacBook Air. And now they're purportedly going to come out with a screen big enough to compete with their MacBook Pros. So this does not feel that out of the question. It's kind of reasonable. By the way, I'm not bothering to read the article here. Most of this article is really just kind of bringing up Stage Manager because it's a trendy topic right now. And the rest of the article is kind of talking about other iPad models that don't have anything to do with this at all. Thanks, Verge, for kind of a no content or very little value add on the article. The title really got the best of it. Diablo says, "Boo Stage Manager." I have not used it. The updates for my MacBook Pros obviously only came earlier this week, and I have not installed them yet because I know better. I have learned long ago, you never install the OS updates in the first, like, week or two. It's not that they're bad, but there's almost always something. And that something is usually okay to avoid. I want to avoid it. I want to give them a good couple of weeks for the mass adoption to happen, at which point I can turn around and say, all right, now I'm ready. They've caught the big bugs. If I don't have a direct need to test stuff on the new versions, I can wait. Yeah, the fact that Stage Manager isn't on by default, that is a pretty big sign, especially because they gave it stage time and then it didn't, like, to not ship it on by default, bad sign. And then, yeah, Stage Manager on iPad has apparently just been a total disaster, but whatever. Let's see, what else? Oh, but yeah, with the 16-inch iPad, I do question, well, not question, but I feel like that is a clear thing where they want to come out with a matching product so that this is the thing that ships alongside a MacBook Pro. People who want the tablet that is going to be more portable, not by much, but we'll say it's more portable. They want the thing that is going to run iPad OS. It could run Mac OS, but it probably won't. But it will run iPad OS. I feel like that is a bit of a certainty. And it becomes their hybrid product. This is effectively the thing that they can ship that just straight up says, like, we can do the product that it is just like your MacBook Pro, but it runs iPad OS, whatever. And with that, I think they're going to make their play. I think that's a product that they try to pitch to the business person as, hey, it is exactly like your laptop, but you can just rip the keyboard right off, use it like a tablet, use it like a laptop, it's all good. And I know this will sound weird, but I genuinely think that they'll probably ship this with something higher than the baseline it'll possibly be an M3. Well, M2 or M3, kind of doesn't matter. I think they will ship this with a higher than baseline chip. It'll probably just be the Pro, because they have the regular, the Pro, the Max, and then the Ultra. I think this will probably ship with the Pro. Keyboard is going to be $450. Yeah. Yeah, it actually probably will be. Especially because, I think that's an exaggeration, but it might not be. The keyboard will probably have Touch ID. It will have a trackpad. I mean, it's going to be a full-size thing. Oh, the keyboard could even come with speakers. I mean, it's going to be... The keyboard is going to be too big physically to just be a keyboard. Like because, I mean, on a 16-inch, that's... I'm looking at my 16-inch MacBook Pro right now, and seriously, like, they're going to ship a keyboard that is the same size as they always ship. It's going to be a normal size keyboard, and the trackpad is going to be maybe a bit smaller, but probably about the same. That leaves a ton of space on the edges. There's room for speakers. They could put something else there, but it's going to be speakers, I bet. That would actually be kind of cool. They should do that. So, damn it, now I'm really thinking about that. That's actually very possibly a super cool thing. So, yeah, I kind of think that they're going to do... I kind of think they're going to do sort of that crossover product. That's what... I mean, that is clearly the purpose of this. If they're shipping something that is larger than the 12.9-inch iPad, the purpose is very clearly to build that final crossover product. It's the thing, like I said, it's... You can hand it around at a conference table like a tablet, or go out to a business site, or do whatever. And then when you get back to your desk or whatever, slap on the keyboard, you're good to go. Truthfully, what I think they're also probably going to do is even a lot of docking stuff. So imagine for a second you are whatever you are. You're a developer, or you're a, I don't know, business person, generic business person. You wear a suit and vest, and you've got the skinny tie. You go to a meeting, you have it as a tablet. That's what it's for. You might take notes with it. You might, I don't know, look at XKCD comics, whatever. And then as you go back to your desk, you just walk back. Instead of slapping on this, you know, overpriced but still kind of cheap keyboard, you know, this disaster, you just plug this thing in to a dock. It connects to a monitor. Now you have the iPad and a separate monitor that are both displaying whatever you want to display. You've got a physical keyboard of your choice. You know, it's supposed to be a Mac keyboard, but it doesn't have to be. And that's going to give you all of your, like, it's going to be a good keyboard, whatever type of keyboard you actually want it to be. Obviously, you'll be able to connect a trackpad and all the other good stuff, even if it is with a lightning cable, because that's just how they are. And yeah, I could 100% see that as the business case for this. That way you don't have to pick up a full physical laptop. Because I'll tell you, you know, when I'm like, if I'm going to a meeting, look, this thing, I can absolutely walk into a meeting, carry this around, set this on a conference table. I can slide it over to somebody, let them futz around with it. But wouldn't it be better? Reaching for the closest thing I have to an iPad, a Nexus 9. Wouldn't it be better just to walk in the door and just have something, obviously much bigger than this, but have something like this? You just hand it to someone. It does all the same things. It has all the same features and functionality. It gets the job done. And it is the true, like, continuity story, but in one device. It's the thing that Microsoft has been pitching for years. It's what everyone has talked about in technology for ages. Apple would finally have it, and it would be in the form of an iPad. Gonna be a very, Diablo says, it's gonna Diablo says, yeah, gonna be a very good test if people buy this rather than an Air. I agree. The only catch is this is gonna be so expensive. It is going to, I mean, think about it. It's going to have almost everything that a MacBook Pro has, minus a couple ports. And a smaller battery. And of course, no built-in keyboard, but they'll be selling you a separate keyboard. So it's going to cost, before keyboard, probably, I'm guessing, about... It's going to cost less than a comparable MacBook Pro, but I don't think it's going to be by that much. And by the time you add on the keyboard, it's going to be more. The iPad Pro does already surpass the Air prices, right? It can, yes. Oh yeah, it actually, easily it can. Because when you... I'll just go straight to the store for this. Okay, so... Here's a MacBook Air with M1 chip. I don't know if we really want to start with that or the M2, but in either case, I mean, we're talking about for base models, 1,000 for the M1 chip or 1,200 for the M2 chip. Obviously, you can customize these a bit to get their prices up pretty high. If you wanted to, if you really wanted to, you can get an... Oh god. You can get an M2 MacBook Air up to $2,500. Okay, granted that's ridiculous. I don't think very many people are doing that, but you could. iPad Pro with M2 chip. Let's just see what that's gonna be like. Boss Gray, 2 terabytes. Sure, let's throw cellular in there. Hey, maybe that's why they'll never do a cellular MacBook. We'll skip the engraving stuff. Oh, I guess you have to. No engraving. I think, just to be fair, we'll skip the pencil. Okay, now we have to have a keyboard. Let's see, can you... Yeah, you can see that at the top right. We're already at $2,750. Well, $2,748. So yeah, you can get a MacBook Air, maxed out MacBook Air, with the same chip. These are the same chips, by the way. Both are M2 chips with nothing, base model M2 chips. They're identical chips. Admittedly, I don't remember. I think we are putting more storage into this, so that might not be fair. You think people want the pencil? I mean, I agree, people definitely want the pencil, but I kind of think for just competitive pricing purposes, we're just going to argue that the pencil doesn't get counted. That's an add-on for the people that need it. But yeah, I mean, but the MacBook Air comes with a keyboard built on, so we do have to add a keyboard in order to count this equally. So yeah, I think the keyboard has to be added, but the pencil can be left out. Anyway, that gets us to over the same price. That actually gets, jeez, that adds $250 to the price. Oh, that's brutal. For a tablet. But hey, that's the story that we're facing. I mean, man, can you imagine paying $230 a month for a tablet? Oh, that's brutal. Hey Carson, how's it going? Um, oh man. Oh, that price is too much. Literally, it is too much. And just to think, if they come out with a 16-inch model, just parts alone, because it's a larger display, larger glass, larger battery, larger everything, the base price on this iPad automatically goes up. There's no way that it is $1,100. It's gonna be, I'm thinking, probably $1,300, maybe $1,250, but I'm betting against it. Plus, again, I think they're gonna ship with a Pro chip, not the baseline chip. I don't have a good reason for that, but I think it makes sense. Maybe it'll be the baseline. Anyway, so M2, M3 doesn't matter. I think it'll just be a Pro. So you're probably talking another $100 there. So a 16-inch iPad Pro, I'm guessing, is probably going to start at $1,400. Maybe knock $50 off if they're really trying to push this thing and make it attractive. So, God, even as I say this, I'm just wrapping my head around how awful this is. I think you're right. The keyboard is probably going to be $400 to $450. They're going to have, it'll probably still be 2 terabyte storage, Wi-Fi and cellular, obviously. I bet they'll get rid of the 128 gig storage though. I bet it'll start at 256. Maybe even 512. Actually, it probably has to. Can you get a MacBook Air? It's actually an interesting question. MacBook Air. Oops. What is the... Okay, you can get MacBook Airs down at 256 with an M2. Okay, so that's the baseline. And that's what they'll ship this with as a baseline. Diablo, yeah, I'm thinking they want to compete with Samsung TV tablet. It'll be bundled for Apple TV Plus and soccer advertising. Yikes. I can see it. So anyway, yeah, this is still just rumor territory, and let's see, Ming Tae Cho? No, I'm saying that wrong. Okay, anyway, Mark Gurman is the one spreading this. I haven't heard Ming say anything about this size. But okay, yeah, anyway, my thinking is this being in rumor territory leaves a lot of possibility that they're just not ready to or that this is probably a new enough emergence that they might not actually ship it next year, but maybe. There's a lot of we'll see to this because they're also going to have to work out the software experience, and Stage Manager obviously has to be good. So does like the interoperation with the keyboard, possibly new features. If they launch anything new on the Mac anytime soon, they might in order to make a good case for it, they might have to also be able to put that on the iPad Pro, a 16-inch iPad Pro. Obviously, they're also going to be pushing more pixels, which has a bit higher heat production coming out of the processor, though. Again, the M1s were so efficient. The M2 is a little less efficient, but still very powerful. Maybe they'll wait for an M3. That could kind of make a lot more sense, because shipping an M3 on a 16-inch iPad Pro, you can now push the pixels without any, I'm assuming you would have negligible heat. You would you would likely have all the performance you need. They would probably also integrate some extra features that would minimize the challenges even more. I think it would make sense. I think that'll probably be their big pitch, and it makes a lot of it makes so much sense. So yeah, I think that's probably the future of. I think that's the future of what they consider to be the desktop line. Well, not desktop line, but you know, the Mac line is to have the iPad eventually completely subsume the Macs. Just basically eat away at that market until nobody really needs a Mac anymore. Everyone will just have iPads, which raises the inevitable question: what'll happen with things like the Mac Studio and the Mac Pro? Will they still be shipping those as Mac OS just because, or will there be some magical solution that like an iOS device that is running like a 120 some core processor that it just happens to be built as like a giant iPad? Yeah, but oh yeah, it would get Apple porting more Pro apps. Yeah, it absolutely would. It's funny because you can see that inevitability. They have to do that, though. To be fair, yes, it would absolutely port some apps. I hold firmly to the belief that we haven't seen the end of Final Cut. I think Final Cut definitely has to be coming to the iPad. How they intend to profit on it or use it is debatable, but yeah, that'll definitely be making it. I think Logic will too. Weird. I thought I heard something behind me. But I could see them maybe abandoning a few more apps fairly soon. Just because progressively it seems like Apple wants to, maybe not wants to, but it seems like Apple's kind of shipping less software these days. It's not like they're adding any new stuff. I mean, they added like Apple Music. They added individual apps to Mac OS, but it's not like this is a lot of stuff that ships through the store. They seem to actually kind of be either in maintenance mode on a lot of things or even toning down. So like, for example, I don't think you can find too many good examples of oh damn it, what was I gonna say? my brain is already like half checked out. But yeah, I don't think you can find too many good examples of new stuff that they're shipping. And even if you look to YouTube, or sorry, not YouTube, though actually that counts too. If you look to Final Cut has not had a major update in a pretty long time. Let's see. I mean, they keep having updates. There's no question to that. But let's see. Pulling up Final Cut. Can't really share the screen, unfortunately, but so Final Cut is on version 10.6.5. 10.6 came out a year ago. Does it have a date? No, it doesn't. Okay, I can just look that up. Okay, looks like... Okay, none of those dates are correct, so that's super awesome. Oh, wait. There was a release notes page. Oops. Ah, here we go. Okay, so 10.6. Oh, hey, almost exactly a year ago. Alright, so the 10.6 update, the addition of the object tracker was actually kind of a big deal. That was one of those things where they actually made a genuinely valid feature improvement, especially because it also made a lot of third-party plugins less important. Let's see. That's a lot of bug fixes. Yeah, those are all bug fixes since then. So yeah, it's been a year since they had a notable release. Prior to that, just kind of skimming as fast as I can, I see a lot of functional stuff added to support like special formats and things like that. Was 10.5 a big deal? Yeah, 10.5 wasn't even that significant. It really just added support for Apple Silicon. Okay, so yeah, Final Cut has kind of been in, not maintenance mode, it's definitely like significant updates a couple of times, but it's not updating at that same sort of powerful rate that that the other editors are doing. Like, this is not on par anymore with the rate that Adobe is shipping like major updates to Premiere Pro. Don't get me wrong, Premiere Pro is something, but yeah, it's not yeah, Final Cut is just not really keeping up with that pace. It's still better, it's just it's giving Premiere Pro the opportunity to kind of get ahead in other ways. Diablo collaboration on iPad would be another thing they can tout. Yeah, I still hold, I think that is absolutely their way to making a lot of profit, by just making Final Cut free. Make it free, charge for the iCloud subscription to do collaboration and sharing of footage and everything else. Yeah, that would be, they would make so much, they would make good press doing that, and I think they would make about as much money, at least at this stage. So yeah, I think Final Cut is kind of just slipping back into default relaxation mode. Oh, and I was gonna say, what spawned this specific topic? It was a comment about they'd be porting more apps, more of their pro apps, and yeah, I think if they transition Final Cut and Logic, that's really the only pro apps they need to account for. In fact, let's see, just looking at other Apple apps. Business Essentials, Test Flight, Apple Developer, Transporter, Classroom, Apple Configurator. I'm just reading through all their apps on the store. Shazam, because why not? GarageBand, which isn't technically a pro app, and that's already on the iPad. They would have Logic Pro. There is Main Stage, but I don't think Main Stage, does that even get updates? It has to, right? Version history, yikes. The last Main Stage update was 5 months ago. The last major update was 7 months ago. A lot of stuff that, like, all their updates are just reading, this update contains stability improvements and bug fixes. That's it. They have had a couple of major updates that include some stuff, but it's, to look over this, it's like supporting specific types of hardware, and it's adding some instruments and capabilities, but it's not huge stuff. Oh crap. And then prior to the they've had two major updates in the last roughly year. Prior to that, the previous major update was 4 years ago. So yeah, main stage, I don't know if this even counts as a pro app, but it's not getting supported. I think that would probably die off. They have Xcode, but they're kind of transitioning a lot of developer tools over to the iPad. It's still definitely nowhere near as good of a place to develop apps, but you can. I mean, it's a thing. You can absolutely develop apps on an iPad now and put them in the store. So that's not out of the question. Let's see. They have Compressor, which is for Final Cut Pro. They have Motion, which is effectively for Final Cut Pro. There's iMovie, which is not a pro app, and I personally think that it might just go the way of the dodo. They have Keynote, Numbers, Pages. All three of those are non-pro apps that are also on the iPad already. And the Remote Desktop app, who cares? And that, I don't think, even gets supported anymore. I'm curious. Last update 10 months ago. A relatively minor bug fix update from a year ago. Prior to that, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. Yeah, the Remote Desktop app is not supported. 16-inch iPad would make it neat to test different screen sizes developing on it. It would be the... Oh man, you're right. That would actually make it the technically ideal development platform. Every developer would actually kind of be pushed into getting one because they'd be able to test everything on it. It's weirdly sketchy. That's one of those things where every developer would be sitting there like, damn, we actually have to buy this thing that probably by default costs $1,500. For $1,500 plus keyboard. To be a developer in the Mac or in the Apple ecosystem, you might be stuck ponying up between tablet, keyboard, and everything else. You're gonna have to pony up $2,000. That's what it'll turn into. And don't forget your yearly $100 to keep your apps in the store. Oh man, that's not great. That's not great at all. Who wants to be an Apple developer when your startup fee is $2,000? How weird is that going to be? At a certain point, the Mac is going to be the cheaper way to be an Apple developer. Oh my god, that is not great. But hey, that's Apple. So let's see. With that, I am actually out of topics. Does anybody have any particular hot news that we should bust into for today? Let's see. I was skimming over The Verge, but I think I had hit pretty much everything from the last day. Before I continue on, I'll also address this weekend. Not that there was really any doubt, but weather this weekend is kind of crummy. So yeah, I'll probably be game streaming. I don't think I don't think there's going to be a hot weekend left this year. It just call that a very, very low chance of ever happening again during 2022. Unless something real wacky happens. Trying to think if there's anything else. Even in Houston got cold? Yeah. Well, and I know Carson was having the lightning storms there, and it sounded like the weather was getting on the cooler side. Oh, that was interesting. I'm so used to the YouTube view, like the live video. I'm so used to having things that actually show me comments before the comment section on the video. Like the actual proper comment section. This time it was the other way around. I saw the comment like many seconds before the video caught up. Not a big deal, just I'm not used to it. Can I? That's why. I needed to... Somehow my video view fell behind several seconds. I needed to click live in order to correct it. So anyway. Trying to think if there was any other news, and I really don't think there is. I saw that... Not that it's really topical, but I did see that there's another self-driving vehicle company that just basically decided to close up shop. And they were working with a couple of the major manufacturers, so that's kind of disappointing. Because I'd love to see any sort of competition for Tesla at this stage. Alright, yeah. I'm kind of just... Oh, wait, what is this? Is this just going to be a cool video kind of situation? Because I'm okay with that. Yeah, okay. Oh, that looks so creepy. I kind of want that. So yeah, they're just tentacles that can crunch up. That's neat. I mean, very inaccurate and prone to tangling, evidently. But yeah, that's kind of... It's cute. Huh. Okay, well, that was cool. Let's see. Diablo, I need a robot to cut my grass. Is grass a euphemism, or are we talking an actual lawn? Because both. No, there actually are robotic lawnmowers. I've always found those kind of concerning because it seems like they are a little prone to getting lost from what I've seen. I don't have one, but it'd be actually pretty nice. But yeah, they don't seem to be good at staying in place. Mostly because I think they travel over uneven ground, and that seems to mess with them a bit more than like a typical Roomba. Typical Roombas, you just set up their like little laser fences, and they'll stay in their area. With a lawnmower situation, it's a bit harder to do that. Plus, there is something about having the robot be outside of your house where people could come along and snatch it, which feels somehow kind of bad. Plus, obviously, these are big machines with spinning blades as opposed to just little tiny vacuums. The big machine with spinning blade, kind of scary in its own way. Let's see. But anyway. So... yeah, I don't think there's really any other notable stories to hit today. If I do a quick refresh, is there anything new? I doubt there will be, but oh hey, Apple killed App Store gambling ads after developer outcry. So hey, this is I don't have a lot to say on this, but actually it does kick up that whole Twitch discussion about gambling stuff. I've been saying for ages that Twitch absolutely needs to put a kibosh on gambling streams, which they basically kind of just did. Like, they severely limited them, so that helps. I don't think it's enough, but yeah, I honestly, like, I kind of do want to see paid gambling, pay for play kind of style stuff. I want to see that fall out of the equation, because too many people do seem affected by it. I have no problem with it. I can't express how much I do not have a personal problem with this. I mean, I lived in Vegas and didn't gamble for the entire time I was there, but yeah, I do not see, I've seen so many people affected by it, and a lot of the ads are incredibly predatory. A lot of the like streamers that do gambling stuff are so predatory, and I kind of think that just needs to be stopped. Like, I grew up with a buddy of mine. We're actually not friends anymore. This guy gambled all the time. Every place he went, he had to throw money into the so-called organ lottery machines. I'm assuming everywhere has something kind of like this. You know, they're like blackjack or poker or whatever. Well, I guess not actually really any poker. It's a lot of like blackjack style or like poker matches without it actually being poker stuff. Anyway, yeah, he would always throw some money into those machines. You couldn't stop him from doing it. And I would see him throw, in some nights he would throw a couple $100, and he was always really proud of himself if he won $100. He'd still be down $100 or $200, but he only ever counted how much he won, never how much he put in. So yeah, I've seen too many people ruin their lives with this stuff. I think we're to the point where it's time to cut gambling. At least don't have it out there where it's like casting a line into the water to go fishing for people who are addicted to it. It's better to, like, I don't want to outlaw it entirely, I guess, but I like the idea of it being something like a Vegas and an Atlantic City where people travel there to do it on occasion, and they mostly get told time and time again, like, figure out how much you can afford to lose and only bring that. It's not good when people have this constantly available and constantly on their devices and constantly nagging them to come back and play. Honestly, the gacha games we have now are bad enough. But yeah, anyway, let's see. As a quick side note, just with this other title right below it, Zuckerberg is all in for the metaverse, whether you like it or not. I know they're trying to get attention with that title, but I just want to say I like it. I want him to be all in on metaverse. I want him to throw away as much money and as much of Facebook's value on metaverse as he possibly can. Please, please, Mark, dump everything into metaverse. Make it your white whale, baby. Spend, baby, spend. Let that thing die on the vine, please. All right. Anyway, I think I've probably wasted enough of your guys' time. So, let's see. Again, again, this weekend should be game streaming, I'm pretty sure. I may do a photo stream. I have a couple of things that, well, I have at least one more thing I need to photograph, though honestly, the photos are going to be super boring. But I might do it. And then some editing I need to do. So there's a possibility of a photo edit stream this weekend. We'll see. Otherwise, probably gaming. That seems likely. Let's see. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't have much in the way of stuff to announce. Obviously next week, also RambleCast. Corbin should still be gone, I believe. Though I may drag Zach in to be his replacement for the day, or I might have other plans. You never know. I'll see what comes together. I'll see what ideas may happen. Let's see. I'm sure we'll talk about some Apple stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about some Google stuff. We might even talk about, by that time, I might even have some thoughts about this guy that I have to turn so that I can actually get a reflection on the screen. This is the 7 Pro. Good old Pixel 7 Pro. I might have some impressions to share. So far, I've been using it for the last week, about a week, a little over a week. I don't know. My impressions thus far are basically the fingerprint sensor is so marginally faster that it's almost like placebo level. Like I'm pretty sure it's faster, but not enough to matter. You still have to have kind of like a concerted place thumb on print or on the scanner, hold it there, and then it unlocks. Like it's quick, but it's not as quick as some. I haven't had any problems with signal, but with that being said, I also have not actually had any phone calls with it. Oh no, wait, sorry, I take that back. I did have a phone call with it last week. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with Pixel 6 signal either, which, by the way, I did finally move my Fi SIM card to the 6, so you know, it's funny, as I say that, right now it actually has no signal. But that's Fi. I've never gotten a good Fi signal here. But on AT&T, right now I actually have a full signal bar, which is weird, particularly because on this side of the house, I typically have a worse signal. When I'm on the other side of the house, I usually get my better signal. Now it's reversed. That's actually kind of weird. I sort of now actually want to know why. It's actually really, really weird. Anyway, so yeah, the things that were bugging people about the 6, I feel like I'm not really having those problems on the 6 or the 7. It's a lot of the same. Plus, I know that this doesn't mean much to anybody else, but using moment cases on both of these phones has become a bit of a challenge for me because I am constantly picking up the 6 Pro when I'm trying to pick up the 7 Pro, and it's driving me nuts. Like, it's actually kind of it's really driving me nuts. The only way I can really tell just by feel is I have to reach up and actually slide my finger across the camera sensors, because the 6 Pro moment case has the mount for a lens. Yeah, oh yeah, they look the same, they feel the same, they have the same texture on the back, like they are basically identical cases. The only difference is the 7 Pro case doesn't have the mount stuff. And if I look at them, obviously, like I can see the sensor bar through the through the window, or through the cutout. And if I feel them side by side, like I can kind of tell on the edge of the glass, but barely. Very, very barely. Other than that, like almost everything is identical. Even the even the buttons are. Yeah, so it's been a minor annoyance, but I mean, how many people are carrying around both of these phones? That's not something everyone is troubled by. It's pretty much a problem exclusive to me and tech bloggers and maybe a couple of other enthusiasts. But yeah, I may have some more thoughts by then, because I'm gonna start putting it through its paces on the camera. I've already done a couple of little tests with it, but nothing too extensive. But yeah, starting this next week, I want to try to do a lot of stuff with the camera and see how much I can get. But we'll see. Anyway, with that, thanks everyone for coming by. Thanks for joining me on this rambly adventure. I hope the rest of your week goes excellently. Oh, you can't wait to do Halloween and Christmas light shots? Yeah, that makes sense. Good old night sight. Yep. But yeah. So I hope the rest of your week goes excellently. For those who don't currently support the channel, well, for those who do support the channel, thank you. Your help is much appreciated. I love you guys. For those who don't, if you'd like to, there are links down below to Cash App, Streamlabs, and Patreon. Just click on those and follow their instructions. They'll tell you things like spend money. That's pretty much all they tell you to do. Let's see. Brain fart as I'm trying to think of what else I was going to say. I don't remember what I was going to say. So with that, thank you all for coming by. I hope everything goes well with the rest of your week. I've said that now 3 times, so I'm going to stop saying that. But with that, good night, everybody.